June 17th, 9:52 a.m., District Court Defendant Lobby number 2.
This is it, the big day. Did you get any sleep?
Yeah, I went to bed at 1 a.m. or so.
Oh, what time did you wake up?
3 a.m.
That's only 2 hours, Apollo. But at least you have me. And the amazing Mr. Hat.
Here's looking at you, kid. Good luck today, Apollo. That voice! Hey, get any sleep?
Mr. Wright!
I was going out of my mind with boredom, so I signed myself out earlier today. Somehow that place makes fake piano playing at the Indochine pasta joint seem almost fun.
Daddy, do you know who's Prosecutor Gavin's witness is today?
Take a guess.
How about Little Plum?
That Sherman tank of a mom? Nope, guess again.
That's too bad. You know, speaking of moms, you need to find me a new mommy one of these days, Daddy.
It's barely morning and you're at it already, Trucy. Okay, see, this is why I don't buy their father-daughter relationship. So, Mr. Wright, do you know who the prosecution's witness is? Alita Tiala, your client's fiancée. She's gonna be a witness?
But that seems odd. Why would she testify against her own fiancé?
You have to wonder what Gavin's up to. Something's going down today, that much is clear.
Well, not to worry, I've got my panties back. If we can't find a killer, I'll pull one out of there.
June 17th, 10 a.m., District Court, Courtroom number 4. Court is now in session for the trial of Wocky. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Prosecution's warmed up and it's a sold-out house. Very well, to recap. While yesterday's witness seemed more guilty than any other party,
Guilty of panty snatching.
we did find out one thing for certain. There were 3 people in the park at the time of the murder. The witness, the victim, and the defendant. Correct, Judge. And today, I like to do something a little new age. I like to look at this horrible crime from the outside. The outside? The acquisition of the murder weapon, the preparation for the act. Our poor defendant told all, you see. To his betrothed. His betrothed? His fiancée, Judge. His partner for life with no chance for parole. Very well, you may show the unlucky lady to the stand. Your name and occupation, Frelaine?
Alita Tiala. My occupation is future wife.
Traditional values. I respect that. Too many brides these days can't even weave baskets blindfolded. Underwater. Yeah, you're here today as a witness for the prosecution?
To be honest, I didn't want to testify at first, but I couldn't hide the truth.
Honesty. Another admirable trait. Frelaine, is it true that, on the day of the crime, the defendant, Wocky confessed his plans? His plans for murder?
Yes.
The witness will please give her testimony to the court. Witness testimony. Wocky's plan.
It was the day of the family health checkup results came back. When Wocky found out that Dr. Morantis had lied, he flew into a rage. I'll teach him, he said. He took one of the family's pistols. And you already know what happened that night. I just don't see how anyone but Wocky could have done it.
So, the pistol did belong to the Kataki family then? Yes, with regards to this, an investigation is underway at the Kataki mansion, on charges of the possession of illegal firearms. And the bullet that took the victim's life? Was it fired from the pistol the defendant procured? Yes, this has been proven.
How can you prove something like that?
Bullets carry marks from the barrel they fire them, called rifling marks.
Rifling marks?
Think of them as being a gun's fingerprint left on every bullet it fires. And when did you first hear about Wocky's plan?
It was the day of the murder. I should have stopped him. I just didn't think he would actually do it.
Very well. The defense may begin the cross-examination. Okay. What could possibly go wrong?
It was the day that the family health checkup results came back. When Wocky found out that Dr. Morantis had lied, he flew into a rage. I'll teach him, he said. He took one of the family's pistols. And you already know what happened that night. I just don't see how anyone but Wocky could have done it.
How can you say that for certain? How? Her forehead, you will refrain from badgering the flame. It was the defendant, Wocky was it, who took the pistol from his home. We know this for a fact now. I suppose we do. So, how could anyone else have used the pistol to shoot the victim? They could not. Simple logic, yeah? That does seem to be the case. Does the defendant have anything to say regarding this point? Could someone else have used that pistol? No, there was another. Based on your testimony, there was clearly another. One other person had access to that pistol. What's this? Interesting. Let's ask the defense then. Tell the court who this other person with access was. Her. Well, of course, I mean you, Miss Tiala. Me? But why? You were quite clear when you told the court you heard about the pistol from the defendant on the day of the murder. In other words, you knew what he was planning. Objection! Let me get this straight. You intend to tell us that this lady stole the pistol from her fiancé and killed a man in cold blood on his behalf? I've heard of people doing strange things for love, but this, it does seem a bit unfathomable. Sure, I'm all for romance, and I'm for supporting your partner in life, to be sure. But I think I would hesitate at murder. I'd hope you do more than hesitate. But what if a different connection could be proven? A connection between the witness and the victim. We might find that she had a personal motive beyond wanting to help her fiancé. That would put things in a slightly different light. What possible connection are you suggesting here?
You know what I'm starting to think? I'm starting to think that the police never looked inside that safe.
I have evidence showing a connection between the witness, Miss Tiala, and the victim, Wocky's chart. That looks like a medical chart. Found inside a safe at the Marathas clinic. I like to draw the court's attention to the names written on the chart. What? Miss Tiala, whatever. Why is your name on this chart? Well, care to explain the meaning of this, Miss Tiala?
I'm not sure what you mean by meaning, Mr. Justice.
Our warm little fiancé just froze over.
I was on staff at that clinic until half a year ago. It was boring, so I quit. That's all. Is there a problem with that?
Miss Tiala, you testified that you had no connection to the victim.
And I don't. Now?
Now?
I quit half a year ago, didn't I? So there's no connection. Let me guess, you're the kind of guy who can't rest until he knows every last detail of his girlfriend's past. Am I right?
That's not true at all. Why, I embrace the ones I love. Past flaws and all. There's no connection now doesn't fly in a court of law.
Doesn't fly?
She's one tough nut. She probably feels right at home with the Katakis. You left your job at the Marathas clinic, true, but you remain connected somehow. Very well, Mr. Justice. Show us evidence that proves the witness is still connected to the Marathas clinic. Yeah, I can prove that. Right here. The sandals. Take that! These sandals were found in the Marathas clinic lobby. They're yours, aren't they?
Well, who knows? I'm sure there are lots of people with those sandals.
So sorry, Fraulein, but your act isn't working. Your moment of hesitation just now cost you.
What's with you? I thought you were on my side.
Perhaps you are unaware that toes leave toe prints? A simple analysis of these sandals will reveal all.
Well, now we see your true colors. I was wrong to cooperate with you from the beginning. I just wanted you to help get Wocky back on the straight and narrow. This court thinks you need to worry less about Wocky and more about yourself. It sounds as though we need to hear a bit more about your story. Your sandals were found in the entrance to the clinic, which means you went there on the day of the murder. Well, there's little point in denying it.
Very well, the witness will tell us about this visit. Why did you go to the Marathas clinic that day? Yep, here we go.
I did go to the clinic that day, my first time in half a year since I quit in January. I went to warn him. After all, I knew Wocky had the pistol. The doctor always was a timid man, too timid to admit his own mistake. Why else would I have gone? I'm not hiding any dark secrets. I wanted to tell him to be careful as an old friend.
By mistake, you mean The mistake we heard about from the defendant? The botched operation?
He was a timid, small man, but I never wished him harm. I just thought I should let him know,
That does make sense. Yes, but there's still one thing which does not. What's that, Prosecutor Gavin? The sandals left in the lobby, of course. We can assume she wore those sandals to the clinic, yeah? Then why does she not wear them home? If it were me, I would have worn them home. I would have worn those sandals home too. So why were the sandals left behind? He pointed out the contradiction before me! There's probably a good explanation for this, right, Miss Tiala? Say, for instance, there happened to be a similar pair of sandals there which you wore home by mistake.
Actually, that's right. I'm impressed, Mr. Gavin.
Oh, it is nothing. There is, after all, no other possible explanation. Yeah, forehead? Oh, what the? No fair! He's filling the holes in her testimony. The defendant may begin the cross-examination. Filling holes, huh? Well, I'm about to prove that wrong. Trust me.
I did go to the clinic that day. My first time in half a year since I quit in January. I went to warn him. After all, I knew Wocky had a pistol. The doctor always was a timid man. Too timid to admit his own mistake. Why else would I have gone? I'm not hiding any dark secrets.
You are. For a reason. This chart was found inside a safe in the doctor's office. Yes? Why would this one chart be in that safe? Miss Tiala, you know why it was, don't you? Mind filling me in? Dr. Maractus didn't have the leisure of making mistakes. That's why he wrote up a false report and kept the truth locked away. Bad, Herr Doctor. And this is where you come in, Miss Tiala. The nurse who filled the chart was you, which means you knew about Wocky's failed operation. Interesting. You were in the same position as Dr. Maractus. Kinda makes it hard to claim no connection, doesn't it? You're bold for a novice, I'll give you that. Mr. Justice, you must know I was only a nurse. The doctor is responsible for the chart's contents. This chart business seems to be quite important. Please amend your testimony accordingly.
Too bad, little attorney.
What the? My bracelet's reacting again.
What is it, Apollo?
I felt my bracelet tighten just now.
Your bracelet?
Just like yesterday. Like you said.
When a witness is unsure of something, their nervous habit gives them away. But I can't see anything, Apollo.
Eh? Then what's my bracelet reacting to?
Wait, maybe. Yes, that has to be it.
What has to be it?
Your senses, Apollo. They must be sharper than mine.
Huh?
I can't see it, but you can sense it.
I don't know about that, Trucy. I don't have some kind of special power or anything.
Listen to me, Apollo. There's a weak point somewhere in Miss Tiala's testimony. But we don't know what her nervous habit is.
Well, then what do we do?
You have to perceive it yourself, Apollo, with your eyes and your senses.
Then it's up to me and my bracelet. I don't know why, but the bracelet helps. Somehow touching it helps me focus. Let's give it a shot and bring down that testimony.
Why would I go to the clinic now for a half-year-old chart, you ask?
Oh, really?
Why would I go to the clinic now?
Gotcha! I got you, Tiala. Why go to the clinic for a half-year-old chart now, you ask? But you know why you would go now, don't you?
I don't know what you're talking about.
It was quite clear, Miss Tiala. You have a nervous habit. The moment you said the word now, you used your right thumb to fiddle with your ring.
What?
She was unsure. I saw it. Now, that's the key word. The chart wasn't a part of your past. It was a clear and present threat.
That's ridiculous. Why, if that were the case, I would have had 6 months to do something about it.
Indeed.
Eh?
Which means something happened quite recently. Something to make that chart a problem for you now. I've got her on the ropes now. I can feel it. Time to strike the killing blow. With evidence. Miss Tiala, there's no use trying to hide it. The chart became a threat to you now because of this. Yup, this. The checkup report. A health checkup report belonging to the defendant. The Katakis are trying to get out of the business. The health checkup this month was their first ever. What did you think when you heard about this?
Nothing. Why should I think anything?
Oh, I would think you were positively beside yourself because you were afraid. You knew what Wocky's chest x-ray would reveal. A full half year had passed since the operation. You thought you were home free when the chart came back to haunt you. Wow. That's all, Your Honor. What just happened? Did the witness just admit to lying? I sensed it. There was a great aura emanating from her forehead. Very cool. So, the lady was lying, it seems. That's correct. She said she had no connection to the Maractus Clinic, but her connection was deep indeed. A bit too deep. If the Katakis got a hold of this chart with her name, she'd be finished. Isn't that right, Miss Tiala?
You guessed it.
Order! Order! I did it! I broke her testimony!
Amazing, Apollo. I didn't see it at all. Daddy was right about you. Wait!
Miss Tiala.
It's true. That chart was bad news for me. That's why I went to meet the doctor that day. But that's all. I told him about Wocky and went home.
It appears this cross-examination's far from over. What? She hid the truth from us, this is clear. Yet, it is not clear that this truth has anything to do with the case at hand. Very well, the witness will add this to her testimony. And we'll have a bit more cross-examination.
I was so close. You're still close. Keep on her, Apollo. Nothing happened at all. I warned him and left.
Nothing happened. Forgive my language, but nothing happened my ass. You say nothing happened in the doctor's office. I disagree. Take a look at this.
What's that? Looks like a swished up ball of clay. Kind of like you, actually. This bullet was found in the Maractus Clinic office. Something did happen in that office, Miss Tiala.
Enough of this joking around. The police investigated that clinic. But this was stuck inside the doctor's safe. Inside the safe?
I guess the police didn't check that far.
But that is a problem. How can you say that bullet was fired on that day? Weren't you the one who explained rifling marks to us? The pistol was taken from the Kataki mansion that day. If the marks on this bullet match the murder weapon, then that proves a firearm was discharged in that office on the day of the murder. Not bad, her forehead. Bailiff, have this bullet analyzed immediately. 30 minutes later, a report arrives. The rifling marks on both bullets are identical. Ooh. Well, it seems as though the bullet in the safe was fired from the murder weapon. Perhaps the defense would like to state their position? The bullet in that safe proves one fact. A pistol was fired in that office on the day, and at the time of the firing, the safe was open. The safe which contained the top secret chart. Do you think someone was threatening Dr. Maractus in order to open the safe? Only one person was in a position to do such a thing. Our witness, Alita Tiala. Order! 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 Mr. Justice, where are you going with this? Are you accusing the witness? Alita Tiala knew about Wocky Kataki's botched operation. She got engaged to him without telling him about it. As long as that bullet remained in his chest, his days were numbered. What if she married him, and then the bullet finally reached its destination? What? That reminds me. Apparently, the Katakis have been inserting themselves in lawful business practices. They're making quite a great deal of money. A fortune, if you will. Nefarious! So she planned to marry him just to get her hands on this fortune? You keep talking trash about my Alita, and I'll sue you, lawyer man! Huh? Me? Yeah, you said you abused my Alita! I think you mean accuse. Same difference. Well, you can't have her. She's mine. It was me. I shot that doctor, me. He left me to die, so I left him to die too, there in that park. Wocky, just cool down a second. You keep your hands on my Alita or I'll... Miss Tiala.
I'm sorry. It's been so long since I've laughed so hard.
Something funny.
Wocky, wake up and smell reality.
Alita, baby.
The signature on the chart, the engagement? I mean, come on, it's so obvious. Even for a brainless, spoiled brat such as yourself.
Alita. Your honesty is like a breath of foul air, Fraulein.
Hey, I wasn't getting out of this clean anyway.
So, the family fortune is what you're really after.
That's right. I wanted the money.
No way. That's whack. I ain't trying to hear that.
Should have done the wedding earlier. Oh well. By the way, can I ask you a question?
Who, me?
I believe you said you were gonna abuse me.
Accuse.
Of what crime, might I ask?
Huh?
Oh, I'm a bad girl, sure. I got close to that brat because I wanted his money. But he was the one with the pistol. He could have fired it into the safe after I already left the clinic.
What?
I would never do a thing like that. It was definitely that silly brat.
Wait, but...
What are you talking about?
Trucy!
You had the most to lose if that chart was found. But I didn't have a pistol now, did I? Well, you could have taken Wocky's. You think he'd have mentioned that, no? All I've heard him say is, it was me. I shot him.
That's only because he's trying to protect you. Sorry to intrude in this lovely conversation. But the two of you are forgetting one critical point.
What? What point?
Certainly the Fraulein wanted that shot. You assumed she threatened the doctor into opening that safe, but then, wouldn't she have taken the shot?
Oh.
You see, that shot wouldn't have been left in that safe. He's right. Miss Tiala.
Yes?
It is clear to this court that you are not a very good fiancé.
Oh, I'm flattered.
Perhaps it's time you told us the truth? Tell us about yourself, including your actions and whereabouts on that day. Don't forget, we've proven that you were at the Maractus clinic on the day of the crime. This sweetheart is one tough nut to crack. Oy.
Yes, I went to the clinic that day to speak to the doctor. I wanted that chart, but I failed to get it, so I went back to the clinic later. In any case, I didn't shoot him. You don't even have proof I stole that pistol, do you? And that brat was spotted in the park at the moment of the crime. Frankly, I don't think it matters if Dr. Maractus was shot in the temple or not.
You went back later?
That chart was dangerous, you understand? I needed to get rid of it. That's why I went that day.
But you couldn't get the chart then, could you?
And later that night, Dr. Maractus was shot. I heard about the shooting, waited a day, but then I had to go back. No easy feat with the cops all over the place.
Ah! That was you?
Ah! Apollo! That sound! It came from behind this door!
Someone's in there. A break-in! They left through that window. So you were the burglar.
That was you two? If only I had one more minute. Then I could have opened that safe and gotten the chart.
What? That's trespassing. And brazen at that.
Oh, is this a trial for trespassing now? Besides, you can't blame a girl for wanting to protect herself. They are gangsters, you know.
In any case, Mr. Justice, your cross-examination. Admitting the little crime to avoid the big one, eh? Oh, just trust me. She has a lot more to hide.
Yes, I went to the clinic that day to speak to the doctor. I wanted that chart, but I failed to get it, so I went back to the clinic later. In any case, I didn't shoot him. You don't even have proof I stole that pistol, do you? And that brat was spotted in the park at the moment of the crime. Frankly, I don't think it matters if Dr. Maractus was shot in the temple or not. Actually, it does. The doctor was shot in the right temple, yes? So it seems.
Let's review the facts again, shall we? If the killer shot from this location, the bullet would have struck our victim square in the forehead. However, the entry wound was in the right temple. Yes, we heard testimony on this yesterday. At the time of the shooting, the witness was standing here. Just before the gun was fired, he shouted. The victim turned his head to look and was shot. Objection! But that testimony was proven to be a lie. Our gorgeous panty snatcher, Mr. Stickler, did witness the crime, but he was standing to the north, next to the trash can where he tossed those panties. If Mr. Stickler shot it from this location, the bullet couldn't hit his right temple.
Silly, silly attorney.
What?
Do you remember what you had for breakfast that morning? Do you remember, Trucy? I always have a glass of milk for breakfast. What matters is one thing. The doctor was shot in his right temple. If that's the case, there can only be one explanation. The panties guy was mistaken.
Objection! But his location was proven. You can't write that off as him being mistaken. Objection! Then why don't you show us, Half Forehead? Show you? What? Must I explain everything? Very well, let's recap. If the witness panties guy was standing to the north, then where was the shooter standing? From what location did the killer shoot the victim? But wait, if the witness was standing there, how could anyone shoot the victim in the right temple? I merely laid out the facts for us. It is up to the one possessing the shiny forehead to show us. If you can, that is. Wocky Kitaki was standing at the killer mark, Wesley Sticker at the witness mark, and of course Pal Miraculous was at the victim mark. Let's hear what the defense has to say. Where was the killer standing when they shot the victim? Someplace else. As the facts stand now, we can't explain this crime without contradicting ourselves at some point. But I know why. The real killer shot from an entirely different location.
What are you talking about? I don't see any other place.
Apparently, Mr. Justice does. Let's hear it. Where in the pod did the killer shoot the victim from? Objection! It's time to raise the roof and the stakes. Eh? Penalties are such frightening things, don't you think? But what if they were a bit more terrifying? Like so. Double penalty? Half Forehead wishes to take us in a new direction. Then he must be ready for the challenges ahead. Challenge accepted. It's justice time.
Are you sure, Apollo?
The key to the wit is the witness, Mr. Stickler's testimony. If we believe that and we know where he stood, and the victim turned where he shouted, there's only one place the killer could have been. The killer shot the victim from here. Right here. I believe we all owe a debt of gratitude to Miss Alita Tiala.
What do you mean?
Thanks to you, we've had a chance to review the crime. And this time, we were prepared. We know that Wesley Stickler was telling the truth. We should have listened to him from the beginning. Wesley Stickler was standing next to the trash can when he saw the two men. He shouted just as he told us in his testimony. And the victim turned to look in his direction. A shot was fired. The victim was hit in the right temple. Oh no. Oh yes. Which direction was his right temple facing at that moment? That's right, toward the noodle stand. Order, order, order! So you're saying the killer was inside the noodle stand? Objection! Let's think about this a bit more, shall we? You say the killer was inside the noodle stand? Which would mean the victim, Dr. Miraculous, came to the park, wheeling his own murderer in the car behind him?
This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. I think you'd notice if you were pulling someone along.
Objection! There's something we should worry about before that. Why was he pulling the noodle stand in the first place? Objection! Let's deal with our problems one at a time, shall we? Someone was hiding in that stand. We have not come this far to talk about possibilities. Let's talk about proof, baby. Show us evidence that proves someone was in that stand. Can I prove that? You want evidence that someone was in that stand? Okay, I've got it. I've got it right here. Intriguing. Let's see what you've got. Show us proof that someone was hiding in the noodle stand. There's only one thing that can prove. These slippers. The Maractus Clinic. And they're covered with paint. These slippers were found in a trash can near the crime scene. And a single slipper print was found at the scene. Right next to the noodle stand. Oh, and Miss Tiala, your toe print was found in the left slipper. In other words, this is proof you were inside that noodle stand. Objection! Yet there was only one slipper mark found at the scene. Can this be called a footprint in good faith? Objection! Observe the diagram. A park pathway runs right next to the slipper mark. A slipper wouldn't leave a trace on a cobblestone path. Objection! Yet you still cannot say this is a footprint, yeah? Why not? You have an impression left by a single slipper. What if it was on the stand and simply fell to the ground? Objection! That's just dumb! One more thing. A noodle stand is typically cluttered with the tools of the noodle making trade. There's no room for a person to ride in there. You have a point. Could someone have hidden in that stand?
Paulo, I think I might be onto something. I think I figured out one of our pieces of evidence. In order to make room in the stand, some things would have to be...
Well, Mr. Justice, do you have proof that someone could have hidden in the stand? I can prove one thing. Someone did scheme to clear space in that stand. That's right. This is a noodle bowl from the stolen Eldoon Noodles noodle stand. Yes, and what about it? We discovered a large quantity of these bowls yesterday. In the lobby of the Maractus Clinic. A large quantity of noodle bowls in the victim's clinic? Mr. Eldoon was very clear about those bowls. Well, I don't care who did it. Without that stand, I'm finished. All my noodle bowls were in there too. Yet the bowls were removed. That night, there was space inside that noodle stand. Space created at the Maractus Clinic, no less. Right around the time that you were there, Miss Alita Tiala.
Stop! I won't listen to any more of these wild fantasies. No, not fantasies. They're worse lies than that spoiled brat's pickup lines.
I would like to remind the witness of her current status. This court does not consider you entirely innocent.
Show me an innocent? I'll show you a fairy tale.
In any case, the defense has somehow made its point. The witness had both a motive and an opportunity to kill Dr. Maractus.
More fairy tales. This whole trial's a fairy tale.
Then please pull us back down to reality, Miss Tiala. I'm giving you one last chance to explain yourself.
This is it. Why was Dr. Maractus pulling that stand that night? And what was Alita Tiala doing inside it?
Time to get to the bottom of this case. And the sooner we do, the better.
That night, I went to ask Dr. Maractus for the chart. I had no intention of ever letting that chart fall into the Kitaki family's hands. But Dr. Maractus didn't understand. For some reason, he thought the Kitakis had sent me. So I gave up and went home. All I did was talk to him. You knew about the botched operation, so you tried to get rid of the chart to save yourself. I won't make excuses. And I did warn the good doctor. I gave him a chance. I told him that Brett got his health checkup report, and that he was coming to settle the score.
I see. Very well, Mr. Justice, begin your cross-examination.
Yes, Your Honor. This is the last testimony. Either I perceive the truth or it's over.
It's a clear hint. We know how this is going to end. For sure.
That night, I went to ask Dr. Maractus for the chart. I had no intention of ever letting that chart fall into the Kitaki family's hands. But Dr. Maractus didn't understand. For some reason, he thought the Kitakis had sent me. So I gave up and went home. All I did was talk to him.
You sure?
So I gave up and went home. All I did was talk.
Gotcha! All I did was talk and lie. What? Show me proof! I'm pretty sure about this one. I think I'm getting the hang of this. A little slip in confidence and they give it all away. The proof is you, Miss Tiala. All I did was talk to him, you claim. Yeah, you can't hide your own nervous twitch when you say those words. My twitch? What are you talking about? You have a habit of scratching the area of your neck around the edge of your scarf. What? What? This is working better than I'd hoped. Her unconscious actions tell the truth she won't say. Habits and lies. 2 dots. Connect the dots and find the truth. Don't look at me like that. I told you the truth. It seems that when you recall what really happened in that office, you can't keep your hands off your neck, can you? It seems that nervous habits are unconscious reactions that manifest when someone is trying to hide something. You can't hide behind your scarf, Miss Tiala. Something happened between you and the victim in the Maractus Clinic office. And I've got proof that shows exactly what happened. Yup, that lamp. Take that! What's that? You're touching your scarf again. There's something unusual about this lamp. The bulb is broken, and there's a red splotch on the cord. Huh? Seeing how you hide your neck, I think I can come up with a plausible explanation for the lamp's state. Well, spit it out! This talking in circles nonsense is killing me. Very well. The answer is very simple. Miss Alita Tiala, please remove your scarf. Yep, again.
Objection!
This is a trial to determine what happened in that park. Yet we were seen to drifted off target.
Objection!
No, we weren't. We'll find out soon enough if we're drifting, as soon as the witness removes her scarf.
I won't do it. This is insane. I'm an unrelated third party. You can't order me to remove my clothing.
Miss Tiala, I'm afraid you've forgotten what's already been proven.
What?
You're hardly unrelated. Please remove your scarf.
No. No!
I knew it. So I was right, wasn't I, Miss Alita Tiala? Your neck? That isn't what I think it is. Something did happen that night at the Maractus Clinic. You needed to get that chart back no matter what it took. Even if you had to steal your fiance's pistol to do it. But wait. Looking at this lamp and the witness's neck, it looks like the very opposite happened.
Exactly.
The victim in the clinic that night was this witness. Specifically, you tried to threaten Dr. Maractus and he attacked you. That's what happened that night at the Maractus Clinic. Ugh. Yeah, I am not gonna go for a long screech like that. Order, order, order! Will someone please tell me what really happened?
I told you the truth already. I went to the clinic that night to warn Dr. Maractus. That gangster knows everything. He's coming for you.
Looks like my clinic's seen its last patient.
We have to get rid of that chart. Quick, open your safe. Give it to me.
So you can save your own skin?
What?
I know what you're up to. You want in with the family. Hold up a sec. Back now. And if they see that chart, you're finished. Leaving me holding the short straw. But if I'm going down, I'll want some company. You.
And what happened next? He jumped at me and knocked me to the floor. Then he took that cord. Pal Maractus was serious. Deadly serious. He really tried to strangle me. I must have blacked out.
Yeah, who would have thought the victim was not so victimly anyhow? How messed up is that? So, you were the victim. And the red splotch on the cord was your lipstick.
I didn't want to remember that night. That's why I didn't bring it up. There. Are you happy now?
Eh?
I was out cold, almost killed. And you claim I then snuck into that noodle stand? But how could I? Ah! Damn it!
Well, one thing is clear. We now know what really happened at the Maractus Clinic. And it would seem that our victim was not entirely without blame himself.
I'm sorry. I get so nervous just thinking of it. It's hard to breathe. I've told you everything. Can I go home now?
You bear some responsibility for events that day, true. Yet if you were also a victim, this court would owe you some sympathy. Well, Mr. Justice, I believe this clears up the remaining questions for Miss Tiala.
When did this happen? Suddenly everyone's sympathizing with her. I don't know what to think anymore, Apollo. I mean, is that it? Do we know everything we need to know about Miss Tiala?
Very well. This finishes the cross-examination of this...
Objection!
We're not done yet! Not so fast. This party's just getting started. Now we rock!
What?
Those spikes on your head are softer than they look. Or do you not have the stomach to go all the way? Prosecutor Gavin! Maractus choked the leader Tiala. She fell unconscious. But what happened next?
He's right. There's more we don't know. But she was choked hard enough to leave that mark. She would have been out for a while. Even still, what if it was her in that noodle stand?
Alita Tiala, half dead. Dr. Maractus pulling that stand. And a bullet fired from inside the noodle stand.
What if it's all true? We might have already figured out what truly happened that night.
Miss Alita Tiala, as you can see, we're not through with you just yet.
You really want to blame me for this murder, don't you? You too, Prosecutor Gavin.
Me? Fräulein, I only wish to know the truth.
Well, let's go back over what we've learned up till now.
On the day of the murder, Wocky saw his checkup report, from which he learned about the bullet still inside him.
So he took a pistol from the family stash, with the intent to give Dr. Maractus some of his own medicine. And Miss Tiala heard about this from Wocky, so she went to the Maractus clinic ahead of him, in order to get rid of the chart with her signature.
But then, something happened.
Sounds like you figured it all out. But remember, I was the victim. I was out cold.
But what about Dr. Maractus? That does seem to be the problem. He had just strangled the leader Tiala, perhaps, he thought, to death. What did he do after his crime?
I was just knocked out, not dead.
From the state of his clinic and the seat in the park, I think it's clear what the good doctor did next. Well, Herr Forehead, care to guess? Well, Mr. Justice, what did Dr. Maractus do? Maybe he did think he killed the leader Tiala. Do I have evidence to show what he did next? Oh yes, I actually do know what happened. Jeez, we made it this far. We may as well see it through.
Take that!
As his next move, Dr. Maractus stole Guy Aldoon's noodle stand. What? Killing me disturbed him that much? So much he randomly stole a noodle stand?
It wasn't so random. Remember all the bowls in the clinic's foyer? Bowls that belonged inside that stand? I think it's pretty obvious, don't you? That stand was at the clinic. However, the question is, why did he remove the balls?
Maybe because the stand was heavy?
Or he wanted to put something in the stand in their place. Ah, wait, you don't mean... I do. Dr. Maractus did replace those bowls with something. Your corpse, Miss Tiala.
My corpse?
Dr. Maractus panicked. He thought he killed you. His next move would be to dispose of the body.
That's crazy talk. You're all crazy.
Then let's think about it. Logic. The doctor had a place to dispose of you in mind. But on his way there, who should he run into but the defendant, Wocky Kataki?
Objection!
I question your logic. What's this, Prosecutor Gavin? The park is a dead end. Why would he head in that direction to begin with?
That's right. He had no reason to go there. Oh, now I get it. It was a trick. That spoiled brat made him do it. He made the doctor steal the stand.
Tell me, why would someone go to a dead end? Unless the park was his destination.
What?
Apparently the defense has an idea. Tell us where Dr. Maractus was heading with the stand. Here, please show us on this diagram. To where exactly was the victim dragging the stand? The river. Where else? There, that's a river.
Yes, Your Honor. I scarcely need to explain why.
A perfect place to dispose of a body.
He was gonna throw me into that river?
He didn't have many other options, Fräulein. I believe this clears up all the remaining questions. The victim put on the stand and the defendant before him. And inside the stand, you, Miss Alita Tiala. Ugh. And then the known Wesley Sticker of panty snatching fame walks up. Seeing the two men, he shouts. In that instant, the detail on this is just so good.
So, I shot him?
You were the only one who could have stolen Wocky's pistol. It had to be you. Well, Miss Tiala?
Nice work.
You mean I'm right?
I mean you've done a fine job dreaming up a story. To get that spoiled brat off the hook. You're the one who's dreaming. Apollo's backed up everything he said with facts. If you're so sure he's making it up, give us another reason. Why was Dr. Maractus pulling that stand through the park? Who knows? But there's one gaping hole in your logic. I think Mr. Gavin knows whereof I speak.
Where of what? I can't believe she's still trying to deny this. Is this true, Prosecutor Gavin? Must I always be the one to point out hairful heads at us?
Maybe there really is something.
I believe the Fräulein speaks of Herr Doctor's car. His car?
That's right. The Maractus Clinic has that big garage.
In which sat a green sports car, was it?
Why would he steal the stand in the first place? If he wanted to carry a body, he would have used his car.
And so we find our victim without probable cause to steal the stand. And our defense without a case.
I have an idea. You know that green car? I bet it wouldn't run. It was broken.
What an excellent counter-argument, Fräulein. Too bad you're quite wrong.
Eh?
Don't tell me you've forgotten what happened to your daddy.
Daddy?
That's right! That night, the car that hit Mr. Wright was that green sports car. Oh yes, I nearly forgotten about it. Afterward, he drove it back to that garage. It ran fine.
That's right. So why didn't he use his beloved sports car?
A glaring contradiction, to be sure. More glaring than your forehead. No. No! Order, order, order! Well, Mr. Justice, why didn't Dr. Maractus use his car to carry the body? Is that a groan of surrender I hear? Some advice. Now's a good time to review all you know. Everything you've learned over the last 2 days. Everything I've learned. Mr. Justice, this contradiction casts doubt on your entire case. This is truly your last chance. The defense will explain to us what happened that night. Okay, I'll tell you. The car didn't run, believe me. I have an idea. It's all coming together. That night, Dr. Maractus couldn't use his car.
Ha! Now you're making even less sense than usual.
Not according to my information, Miss Tiala. Put one and one together and the explanation's simple. If it's so simple, perhaps you can show us some evidence. Show us proof why the car wouldn't run that night. The only obvious reason. Let's see now. Panties? Again?
All sorts of things come out of my panties. Even the truth.
Another crime was committed the night of the murder. The theft of these panties. The latest in a string of similar thefts, actually. But that night, the snatcher was caught in the act. A brave young girl chased the thief until he hid in the Maractus Clinic garage. What? The snatcher hid the panties there before running. Perhaps someone in this court remembers where he hid them? Why, weren't they found in the car's exhaust pipe? Exactly. By the way, I learned something yesterday. A very important piece of information. And I learned it from you, Prosecutor Gavin.
So you were here investigating?
And I was on my way home when my hog gave up the ghost. Your hog? My motorcycle won't start. A clogged exhaust pipe.
Too bad, it looks like such a nice bike, too. Hard to believe that it could break just from that.
Cars, motorbikes, they're all the same. Clog the exhaust, and they won't run.
How interesting.
While Miss Tiala and the doctor were struggling, the panty snatcher snuck into the Maractus garage. From that time until the time we found these, that car wouldn't start.
What? That's why Dr. Maractus had to use the noodle stand. It was the next closest thing he could think of.
Well, Miss Tiala? This wraps your doubts up quite nicely, I think.
So it does. Where am I? So dark. Can't see. Cramped. The pain. My throat's burning.
What's your problem? You, Doc. I know what you did.
Wocky.
You lied to me. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna give you a taste of your own medicine, man. Wait. Let me explain. Fine. I'll give you your last request. Listen. You're being tricked, but not how you think. It's not just me.
No! He'll ruin everything! I have to stop him!
Cease this at once, you two! So that's how it happened. My God.
Funny. This isn't the way it was supposed to turn out. Oh well, too bad.
That breakdown was kind of lame. There's still one mystery. How did you manage to disappear from that stand?
In the silence after the shot, I heard the witness running.
I believe we heard as much from Wesley Stickler. He went to use a public phone to inform the police.
Which is when I made my escape.
Which is when you left that slipper print.
Dr. Maractus didn't bother taking my slippers off. I threw them out after I stepped in that paint, though.
That was your mistake.
No, my biggest mistake was coming to you for help, Mr. Justice.
Eh?
I believed in you. You and your anything agency. If anyone would get Wocky declared guilty, it was you.
What a scumbag! I believe we've reached a conclusion of sorts. Prosecutor Gavin, how is Mr. Lita Tiala doing? She's confessed to everything. We're processing her arrest now.
Prosecutor Gavin sure seems calm for someone who just lost.
I think he already knew. He'd figured out she was a killer a while ago. Some advice. Now's a good time to review all you know. Everything you've learned over the last 2 days. He lost, but I didn't exactly win either. Something the matter, Herr Forehead? Looks like it's time to announce the verdict. Not guilty. Court is adjourned. June 17th, 4:12 p.m., District Court, Defendant Lobby number 2.
Great job, Apollo! You did it!
Yeah, we did, somehow.
Wocky's off the hook. Free to become the gangster he's always wanted to be. And he has you to thank.
Hey, Turning Man! You're gonna pay for what you did to my Alita Holmes!
Or to blame, I guess.
You give my Alita back, stupid pointy-headed attorney with a death wish! Enough, Wocky!
Mr. Kataki!
It's high time you opened your eyes, Wocky.
What do you know, old man? I think it's about time you open yours. Giving up the life, trying to become some kind of businessman?
Don't talk about what you don't understand, Wocky.
I'm afraid the guard's gonna throw them both out.
If not in jail, wouldn't that be a happy ending?
Hey, maybe we can help them out. We know why Mr. Kataki needs to make so much money. Maybe we should tell Wocky. Oh, Wocky, Paul has something to tell you.
Huh? I do? Way to put me on the spot. What's that?
Show him the reason why, Apollo.
Why is Mr. Kataki trying to become a businessman? That's obvious.
Think about it, Wocky. Think about your condition.
I talked with your mother, Little Plum, yesterday.
It pays, but we need a lot of money right now.
Clean money, that is. She doesn't mean you aren't really, are you? I searched the globe, and I found one. A doctor who can take that bullet out of you, Wocky. But it's an expensive procedure.
Man, but you got plenty of money already, don't you?
I won't use it. It was the gangster life that did this to you, Wocky. I want to help you, and I want to do it clean. Please understand, Wocky.
Dad! Man, I see how it is, old man. Always you looking out for it. Wocky, listen good, old man. One day, I'm gonna take you out. Then we'll see who's the OG. You try to hide in your business suit, I'll find you. Stupid old geezer. Wocky.
No, it's as it should be.
Mr. Kataki, I like them more without the puppy dog eyes.
I'm glad to have met you. I'm not so good with words, but I know a professional job when I see one. Thank you.
Who, me? I don't think.
Someday, I'll bake you one of our latest, the Kataki lime pie.
He's opening a pie shop?
So long.
And he was gone. Well, let's head back, Apollo, to the Wright Anything Agency. Hey, since when do I work at your agency? Aw, we make a good team. Don't just stand there, let's get going.
Huh? Why not? She did help me out. And there's a few questions that still need answers.
Like this power of mine that she showed me. And my bracelet. If anyone can help me figure it out, it's her. Though I can't say I care much for what her father has become. Oh, that's right. We have to go someplace first. Huh? Where? Why, to claim our reward from Mr. Eldoon. Ah, salty noodles. Right. He got his stand back already? Oh, and after that, you can come see my show. With a special appearance by the amazing Mr. Hat.
Oh, it's special, all right.
Please. Anything but him.
And just like that, Case 2 has come to a close.
I'm done. We completed Turnabout Corner. That is it for this part of Apollo Justice. Next time we begin Case 3, Turnabout Serenade. If you enjoyed this, please be sure to hit the like button. It means a lot. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and click the bell. I will see you then. This is MegamanNG signing off. Peace out. Product provided by CAPCOM.